every winter, long before monsoon arrives, a distant weather system which is born in Mediterranean Sea comes up here and decides not only agriculture, water resources, but also the climate. And this particular system is known as Western Disturbances. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh and today we are going to talk about this important weather system that is Western Disturbances, which can give you an insight into North India's winter rainfall, also which can give you an insight into North India's winter rainfall, snowfall in Himalayas, and also fluctuations that we get to see in Rabi crop output. So let us begin with understanding Western Disturbances itself, because all the associated things that I have been talking about, they will be understood right after that. So beginning with understanding this weather system that is Western Disturbances. So for when you have to understand Western Disturbances, first you have to establish the fact that they are nothing but a cyclonic storm. So when we are talking about cyclonic storm, they can be of two types. One we have in the tropical region which are originating between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn, and extratropical which are originating in the temperate region. Now when we are talking about these extratropical cyclone storms, they are the ones which are originating in this particular context. When I am trying to explain you Western Disturbances, they are the ones originating in Mediterranean Sea. Now when we are talking about extratropical cyclone formation, they usually happen because of fronts colliding with each other. So when we are talking about air masses, they usually happen because of the formation of front. Now how are the fronts formed? They are formed when cold air mass and hot air mass come in front of each other. That is the formation of front, and that is where we get to see formation of cyclone happening. So whenever we are talking about extratropical cyclonic storm, that is where we get to see cyclones forming because of air masses, much less because of the low pressure which we get to see in the tropical region. Now once the cyclonic storm has formed in the Mediterranean Sea, what we get to see that because there is presence of westerly jet stream, the specifically subtropical westerly jet stream which is present in the upper atmosphere. Now the movement of this is towards east. Now once we are talking about subtropical westerly jet stream, these cyclonic storms are travelled towards India, and when they are travelling towards India, they gradually gain moisture from Black Sea, Caspian Sea, all the bodies, water bodies which are coming in between, and then they enter India. Now what happens in India that has not happened here? Why there is no rainfall present here? The rainfall is not present here because we do not have any orographic barrier up and until here. We get to see the orographic barrier present here as Himalayas. Now when we get the orographic barrier, we have this, we have cyclonic storm coming laden with moisture, it goes up, precipitation, first condensation and then precipitation takes place, which is responsible for rainfall. So when we are talking about Western disturbance, whenever we are saying that Western disturbances are responsible for rainfall in North India in winters, we are referring to the extratropical cyclonic storm which are generated in Mediterranean Sea, and they are the ones which are being transported. I hope we are clear that what exactly are Western Disturbances. Western Disturbances are nothing but the extratropical cyclonic storm. But how they affect and generate the rainfall, that is altogether a different mechanism here. I hope we are clear with this. Now when we are talking about specifically western disturbances, they are active during winter months, that is December to March in India, and that is why you will see maximum rainfall during winters. That is why you get to see rainfall that is caused in winters is because of western disturbances. Now western disturbance reaches Indian continent, it interacts with Himalayas and then precipitation takes place. In many places you will find the term that is used as Mahavat, that is basically winter western disturbance rainfall. Such terms are important if you want to put it in example or case study in your answers. They can be greatly helpful. Can you tell me in the comment section, is there any regional name that is given to the winter rain that takes place in your region? Now that we have understood what exactly is responsible for the rainfall, now straight up let us move to understand that what exactly is the significance of western disturbances, why it is so important for us. Now it is very important for us because of the fact that it is the backbone. It is very important for us because it is the backbone of Rabi economy. When we are talking about Rabi crops, basically the winter crops which are sowed, when we are talking about Rabi crops which are sowed in October, November and harvested around April, these are basically the winter crops. Now this rainfall which is caused by western disturbances is very important for these Rabi crops. And when we are talking about regions such as Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan and western UP, as you can see in the given map, this is the region which actually gets to see the impact of rainfall I am talking about. So 5 to 15% of annual rainfall that happens in northwest India is because of western disturbances itself, and it is the one which is responsible for soil moisture during the dry winter season. So if rainfall will not occur, then it would be extremely difficult to facilitate the Rabi crops, and it also facilitates flowering as well as fruit setting, which we get to see in temperate horticulture. For example, apple, then we have almonds, apricots, which you usually see in the upper hilly regions. Now if western disturbance rainfall is not adequate, then it is a problem, but if it is excess, then also it is a problem, because that will lead to lodging of crops. There are times there we get to see hail damage, we call that ole in Hindi, and we also see presence of fungal diseases in case of excessive western disturbance and related rainfall. So we do need western disturbance rainfall, but we only need it in optimal and within the threshold range. Now agriculture is not the only thing that is benefited with the western disturbances. We have a direct economic impact also, because it impacts not only the food grain output of the Rabi crops but also the price stability, and accordingly it affects how much the farmer will earn, and it will also impact how much rural consumption demand will increase. If the rural economy does not have enough money earned, then their consumption demand will also dip. That means growth of the overall economy will also see a dip. Other than that, this rainfall also has a hydrological angle involved, where it is responsible for Himalayan snowfall. Now this snowfall acts as a natural water reservoir, and this is the snow melt. After this snowfall, the snow melt ensures rivers and groundwater recharge before monsoon, because monsoon is almost 4 to 5 months from now entering India, and the sustenance of water is done through this particular snowfall. Apart from that, it also has environmental functions such as reduction in air pollution. If you talk about North Indian region, heavily laden with air pollution as of now, suffering because of it. So it gives a respite in that angle. It also supports temperate horticulture as well as mountain ecosystems, as I gave you certain examples right away, such as apples, apricots, almonds. And furthermore, it is also associated with regulating North India's winter climate, because if you will see, especially in the past 1 week, North India's temperature was climbing up again. But the rainfall that was ensured yesterday and today has facilitated the temperature drop. Another angle that you need to understand here, that this interaction with jet stream and global atmospheric circulation makes it very important, because this is the one which facilitates the rainfall here. And then we also get to see that any shift in western disturbances and the rainfalls also show the climate variability, that there is some impact on climate. Because if you will go through the rainfall pattern, then over the recent years, the northwestern disturbance rainfall has been erratic and changing and not consistent at all. And that brings up another important angle, that is of disaster, because it also causes intense disturbance, not just economic but disaster management wise, because floods are caused, landslides, avalanches, hailstorms, especially in hilly regions. So that also calls for disaster management. So yes, western disturbance rainfall is required. It is an important phenomena for our economy, but at the same time there are multiple significances around. But at the same time, with the significances, we do have issues as well which need to be addressed. Can you tell me in the comment section which are the issues that need to be addressed, so as to ensure that if the winter rainfall is not in the threshold range, then we have the minimal effect, minimal negative effect. Now on this note, I'll be leaving you with a practice question here. You can put down your answers in the comment section. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.